Hello guys, welcome back to Shraga Debunks. This is episode number 6. I've got to use 2 hands down. This is a segment in which I take anti-Zionist or anti-Jewish propaganda and I debunk it. My name is Shraga, and today we're going to be continuing with the BDS trend, going over everything BDS says on their website and just debunking it step by step. So without further ado, let's get to it. So, what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about Palestinian refugees. Let's see what BDS has to say about it. From the website, again, Israel is denying Palestinian refugees the right to return. Israel is denying refugees the ability to return to Israel. Why though? Let's ask a few questions about this bit of narrative. Why are they refugees? And who are these refugees? Now, let's answer the second one first. These refugees are people who left Israel in 1948 and 1949 in the War of Independence, which is called in the Arab world Nakba, and in Israel it's called Milchemet Ha'atzmaut. Now, why did they leave? Now, many of them left out of fear. Many of them were scared for their lives and they left. Many of them, however, according to Syrian Prime Minister Khalid al-Azam, who was the Prime Minister during the war, he says in his memoirs, "Since 1948 we have been demanding the return of the refugees to their homes, but we ourselves are the ones who encourage them to leave." Who encouraged the Palestinian refugees to leave? Not the Jews, the Arabs. They wanted the Palestinian refugees to completely leave Palestine so that they could sweep their armies through Palestine, which was Israel a few moments later, completely destroy all the Jews living in it, and then, once they were occupying that land, they wanted the Palestinians to return. But the thing is, it didn't go according to plan. The Jews won the war, and therefore the Palestinians could not return to Israel. And now they're claiming to be refugees. Another question is, why are they still refugees? This was 73 years ago. This war happened 73 years ago. Why are they still refugees? At the same time, Israel dealt with 850,000 refugees from other countries, from the Arab countries. Okay, and these refugees were actually kicked out. No Jews came from other countries at that kind of rate. Where are the refugees now? Look around Israeli society, you will see no refugee camps. Instead, you will see integrated people. I am part Moroccan. I'm part English. I come from other places, and we were integrated into this country. We were integrated into Israeli society without using this refugee camp and without staying refugees for 73 years. Now, Israel wasn't a state, and there were more refugees than there were citizens in Israel at the time. These Arab countries around us were a state. They were easily able to handle all the refugees. Why are they still refugees? Now, let's ask a question. Who benefits? Who benefits from them still being refugees? Does Israel benefit from them being refugees? Israel doesn't benefit. Israel deals with international backlash all the time for the fact that there are still Palestinian refugees. Who benefits? I'll tell you who benefits. Hamas benefit. Hamas use them as breeding grounds and training grounds and recruitment for terror attacks. There's a clip of the United Nations Relief Organization, UNRWA, who run schools for these refugee camps. Here's a clip.
When you ask what have the Germans done to the Jews, you must always ask what have done the Jews to the Germans. The Zionists said we must give a counter propaganda, we must make something negative, 6 million corpses.
بيعلمونا ان الاقصى النا وقلنا يعني يعني قلنا فلسطين والاراضي كلها بيعلمونا ان الصهيونية هم أعدائنا وهم أهم شيء لازم يسوي فيهم عملية.
يعني إنهم بيعلمونا بالمدرسة إنهم إرهابيين
بيحكوا لنا عن اليهود إنهم هدول مش مناح وهدول بقتلوا قاعدين بشبابنا. بيحكوا لنا هدول غدارين. وبيحكوا لنا إنه هدول بغدرونا وهدول مش مناح. إذا بطعن بدعس عليهم. عمليات الدعس وعمليات الطعن والاشتباك المسلح في المخيمات.
ايش اكيد هدول العمليات ترفع الراس ولفلسطين.
بس بدك بطلع بستشهد عادي.
Ain't that clip great? Isn't that beautiful, what they're being taught in those schools? It's great. And you can easily see how Hamas is using them as breeding grounds for terrorists and attackers. These are kids being recruited at a very young age, being brainwashed to hate Israel, just so that Hamas can use them as child soldiers. This isn't a good thing to do. This is a terrible thing to do, and Hamas keeps on doing it, and this is why they're still refugees. Now, back to BDS. Why does BDS want Israel to take back refugees? Doesn't make much sense. They're not in favor of terror, are they? In the words of the founder of BDS, if the refugees return to their homes, what will be left of the Zionist regime? What will be left? I'll tell you what, nothing. If the refugees were to return, you would not have a two-state solution. You'd have a Palestine next to a Palestine. Again, this is the founder of BDS. A return for refugees would end Israel's existence as a Jewish state. I think it's pretty obvious why BDS wants the Palestinian refugees to return. They're refugees not because they are in any real refugee situation. They've been refugees 3 generations at this point. It's been 73 years since this war happened, right? And it's not all of the Palestinians that were here got kicked out. There are 2 million Arabs living in Israel at the moment, and many of them were here at the time. Those who stayed got complete rights just like every Jew living in this land. Why are there still refugees? That's why. Because they want to use them for political gains. Speaking of using children as, child soldiers, a 16-year-old stabs my self-defense teacher, Ari Fold, to death in Summit Gush. I didn't know him for very long, and I wasn't his student for very long, but this is just a demonstration of how children are used in this war against civilians, against citizens who do nothing bad to anyone. This is the problem. This is Hamas. All of that is explaining and analysing the reasons behind why they want them to return, but why don't we want them to return? Well, first of all, it would be the end of the Jewish state, right? And you know what happens to Jews in an Arab state? Take a look at Iran, take a look at Syria, take a look at all of the recent history with anti-Semitism in the Arab world. But you can also take a look at it from a perspective of why should they return? Okay, they were here, yes, but they're left. They're not citizens of the state. And they're invaders from a while back. 632 AD, that's when they invaded and took over this land. What right do they have to return? Well guys, thanks so much for watching, and I hope I effectively debunked the Palestinian refugees claim. If you have any ideas for videos, please comment them down below, and please like, share and subscribe to the channel so that you keep on getting notifications and updates. That's it. As always, I'm Israel Chai.